long before Europe invented banking, long before the Knights Templar built their secret web of credit that led nobles cross continents without touching a single coin. China had already done something far more radical. They created money you couldn't hold. Value printed on paper, backed not by metal, but by belief. And with that, they built the first large-scale fiat economy in human history. Centuries before the West even imagined such a thing. Welcome to the financial timeline, where money, power, and history collide. And nothing is ever as simple as it looks. Western history tells a comforting story. Rome invented banking. Medieval Italians invented accounting. The Dutch invented capitalism. There's truth in it. But it's not the whole truth. Because before Europe had banks, before it had a financial class, before it even had paper, China faced an economic crisis so enormous that it forced them to reinvent money itself. And it didn't start in the Middle Ages. It started in the 7th century and accelerated into the 10th. China wasn't just another empire. It was the largest, busiest, most advanced commercial system on Earth. Cities with over 1 million people, trade networks spanning thousands of miles, markets bigger than anything medieval Europe could imagine. But inside that booming economy was a fatal flaw. China relied almost entirely on copper coins. A single cash coin weighed only a few grams. But trade volumes were massive. A large payment could require tens of thousands of coins, tied into ropes, hauled across mountains, ferried down rivers, guarded from bandits. Imagine caravans dragging sacks of copper that clanged like wind chimes and weighed as much as a man. Then everything got worse. Population exploded. Urban markets grew. Trade intensified. Copper supplies fell behind. Prices rose. Shortages spread. The system strained. And merchants, the eternal innovators, created a solution. In Sichuan, merchants began depositing heavy coins with trusted shops. In return, they received a paper certificate, a juazi, promising the bearer could redeem metal later. These were the world's first circulating paper promissory notes, not issued by kings, not created by bankers, not crafted as an ideology. They were practical. They were light. They reduced risk of theft. And most importantly, they circulated as money. Medieval Europe had letters of credit, yes, but they didn't circulate. They weren't used in markets. They weren't currency. Juazi were. The system spread. Other provinces copied it. Merchants, not governments, had built a monetary revolution. And the state took notice. In 1023, the Song dynasty stepped in. They nationalized the system, banned private notes, and set up official printing offices. China had just created the first government-backed paper money. The system was elegant. Standard denominations, expiration dates to prevent hoarding, regional circulation rules, redemption in metal at first. It was fractional reserve paper currency, centuries before Europe's first banknotes. Europe had no banks, no bond markets, no central treasuries. China had all of it. A millennium earlier. But paper money carries a temptation older than kings. You can print it. And the Song government did. More notes, then more. Then more. Reserves thinned. Redemption promises weakened. Inflation crept in, then surged. By the late 1100s, China faced something the world had never seen. The first fiat inflation crisis in human history. The state tried adjusting printing limits, new note types, fresh circulation rules. But once public trust cracks, no bureaucracy, no matter how brilliant, can restore it. Yet the idea survived, because it worked. Then came the Mongols. Most conquerors worry about land. Kublai Khan understood something deeper. Controlling money is better. So he didn't abolish paper money, he expanded it. Under the Yuan dynasty, paper money became the first empire-wide fiat currency in history. From Korea to Persia, one paper system enforced by imperial authority. Marco Polo saw it firsthand. He wrote with awe and disbelief that the emperor made money from the bark of trees, and people accepted it as if it were gold. To Europeans, it looked like sorcery. To China, it was everyday life. But Kublai faced the same ancient temptation. Printing money is easier than raising revenue. Campaigns were expensive. Administration costs ballooned, and when crisis hit, the state printed more. By the mid-1300s, yuan currency collapsed into hyperinflation. Prices swatted notes became worthless. Markets destabilized. Faith evaporated. The Ming dynasty replaced the Mongols and abolished paper money entirely. The civilization that invented fiat currency swore it off for centuries. And yet, the invention survived the collapse, because money is technology, and once a society discovers a more efficient form, there's no going back. China's system was like the first engine. Unstable, volatile, dangerous, but revolutionary. It reshaped markets, tax systems, trade networks, financial imagination. Meanwhile, Europe was 6 centuries behind. Its letters of credit couldn't circulate. Its parchment couldn't support mass printing. Its economies were too small. The West built banks first. China built currency first. Scale demanded innovation. Paper made it possible. Today, people fear inflation, money printing, quantitative easing, fractional reserves, but none of this is new, not even close. China faced these problems 1,000 years before modern central banks existed. They learned the same lesson we still struggle with. Money is only as strong as the trust behind it. When trust grows, currency becomes powerful. When trust cracks, currency dissolves. The technology changed, the psychology didn't. And just like ancient Sichuan merchants began the revolution, today's experiments, crypto, digital payments, shadow credit are again emerging from the private sector, forcing governments to react. The cycle continues. So, what's the real lesson? Money is a story, and whoever controls the story controls the value. China wrote the first chapter. The Song dynasty refined it. Kublai Khan expanded it, and when trust collapsed, the system collapsed. With it, innovation creates power. Power creates temptation. Temptation destroys discipline. And when discipline fails, the currency falls. History doesn't repeat. But if you ignore it, it will crush you all the same. If this gave you a new perspective, hit subscribe because history has the answers, and I'll show you where to look.